Sad little one doesn't want to feel alone. She hates the trash that spawned her. She hates a broken home. She likes it when I say aliens made Homo sapiens. She likes it when I talk Martians and the chariots of the gods. The blood of the unearthed me better than the blood of the ugly. Bred for more than just civility. Bred for more than this burned out hole.
Hey everybody, how we doing? Welcome to Paranormal Tuesday. Hanging out with you. Let's bring Wendy in here. Wow, we are live, going live with you guys on the Facebooks. So,
hello.
All right. So it's Tuesday, so it's time to talk weird stuff. And obviously, the only weird thing people have been talking about, it seems like, for the past 2 or 3 weeks is the monolith. That started off in Utah, then there was one in Europe, and now it seems like monoliths are happening all over the place. And an art collective came out and said that they were doing it as like a promotion to try to sell monoliths.
Oh, shocking.
So, but I mean, who knows if they're just trying to take advantage of it? Because it's good marketing. If you say like, we're the monolith people, then somebody might be like, oh yeah, remember that monolith? So I think the monolith's a hoax, everybody. Just saying, I don't think it's actually aliens. And I'm a touch disappointed, to To be honest, I was kind of hoping it was going to be aliens, and not that. But what are you going to do? I'll tell you what to do. We're going to dream of a better time. Huh? Okay. So the first thing is I want to get back to, so last week we left you guys on talking about, we're going to try to experiment with lucid dreaming this week. All right. Now, I even set my alarm for 5:30 so that I would try to wake up, because you think the best way to do it is to wake yourself up and then fall back asleep. And I failed every single day. So I did wake myself up.
Good job.
I did wake myself up. But it just didn't turn out. I didn't turn out any lucid dreams this week. So Wendy, what did you do to kind of prep yourself for lucid dreams? Anything in particular?
I just tried to prepare myself before I went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, by kind of visualizing. We were trying to the experiment was to try to have a dream that you're flying.
Yes.
So I tried to fill my mind with those kinds of thoughts. And then I also, throughout the day, not at nighttime, but throughout the day, I was reminding myself constantly to check the clock and recheck the clock.
Yes.
Because we had discussed that that's a good way to identify whether you're in a dream or not. And then if you look at the clock and it in succession, if it changes drastically, then you can identify that you're in the dream, and then you can start.
Right, because if you look at a clock and then check back to see if it changes, and it changes by 10 seconds, you're probably in the real world.
Right. So I was trying to get in the habit of doing that, and so, I did.
Yeah, nice.
And then as I've mentioned before, I've been having really good success at leaping back into dreams after I wake up when my alarm goes off in the morning. So I was hoping to use that opportunity to, after waking up to get back into it and then be somewhat aware that it's a dream.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I haven't had success yet.
Okay.
But I think it might be the kind of thing that takes a lot of practice and a lot of work. So I might just need more time. I might need more iterations on that one.
Nice. All right. Mark Johnson comes in. No lucid dreams for me. Sorry, Mark.
Aww.
I feel your pain, buddy.
Thanks for trying.
Yes. We didn't have them either. And I did try every day this week, and I was going to say first the monolith lets me down, and then my own brain lets me down. But that's okay.
Well, you only gave it a week, so like I said, I think it's probably not the kind of thing that you can just do overnight. That's a pretty short amount of time for an experiment. So I think if we continue focusing on this experiment and try, we can all continue to try, and maybe it can be like a contest of who has the flying dream first.
Okay. Well, I think it's good to continue on this. Lisa comes in saying that she's having bad dreams.
Oh, no.
Oh, Lisa.
Sorry, Lisa.
Probably because you hang out with all those Krampuses and witches and stuff like that. They're infecting your mind.
Right.
Lisa was they had a Krampi parade this Saturday night in Madison. Not a big one, just a few of the people dressed up as Krampus.
Oh, that's awesome.
The Christmas demon. I believe that's episode 4 of the podcast or somewhere in there. It's a real early episode. And they had a fun thing coming through Madison. But my favorite part, though, when they were doing that was that we weren't able to make it, but I watched the Facebook live stream. And so my 4-year-old daughter was like, cool. She's seeing Krampus. And she's like,
they're coming.
Are they coming here? And I said,
poor kid.
It depends on how good you are.
Oh my God.
So it's great. So I used the Christmas monster in the traditional way. Just like we were talking about the Icelandic trolls that lick your feet and stuff like that. And the cat that eats you if you don't.
Keep those kids behaving.
Right. Krampus did his trick for me. So thank you, Krampus. Anyway, so that was just a fun thing. And so Lisa, I hope your dreams get better. And that's
Yeah,
the idea
never
behind.
fun.
That's kind of the idea behind going to Dreamland with this project. Sharon had limited success just writing her dreams down to remember them this week. All right, Sharon.
Huh?
So that's the
Well,
first process.
keep trying. Yeah, I mean, it's good that I think it is like a habit though. The more you try to do it, and
Yeah.
you just sort of get your mind begins to prepare itself subconsciously even. Like I said, when the week or I guess it was last week when we did the dream journaling,
Right.
I definitely got like better at remembering my dreams right when I woke up
Sure.
after doing it several nights in a row. So
Anita, several years ago, I kept a dream diary. After about 2 months, I was able to have lucid dreams pretty consistently. All right,
That's
all right,
awesome.
Anita.
So there you go. 2 months it took her. I mean, not to say that she was even trying to do that, but
Right.
that's pretty
But
awesome.
the real thing is that we talk about, we want to explore, unknown realms and things like that with these kind of discussions. It's a lot of that we spend 8 hours, or really I spend like 5 to 6. I'd like to spend 8 hours. I'm trying to. But,
Yeah, ideally, but really, who
I'd
knows?
like to spend 8 to 9. But the thing is that we spend this time in this unknowable place where our consciousness is basically turned off, and it's going somewhere. It's going inside. And so the fascinating part is it's a journey inside, and you're going somewhere with it. So the idea that 1/3 of our life is spent completely outside of what feels like completely outside of our control.
Yeah.
I had no control when my father married B. Arthur in that dream.
Well, here's a funny one for you. Actually, that Anita sent me a text earlier this week because she had a strange dream, and I was in it.
Ooh, well, what were you up to?
Well, she said that, and she said it was fine if I shared this. So,
Okay.
because it's just funny and interesting that she said it started out great. I think I was a queen, roses everywhere, and then I came up, knelt, and said, "Rose from a lady," and gave her a rose.
Oh.
But by the end, she says my teeth were falling out of my mouth. So she was having the teeth.
The teeth falling out
very
dream.
Common. What it's supposed to be like a symbol of uncertainty or something like that, or
Yeah, I mean, I used to have the teeth falling out my mouth, I don't know, once every couple of months. And when I was a
it's the
kid,
worst.
I didn't, when I talk about that, I really had very few people that I knew, at least in Big Bend Elementary or kind of that remember, they're like, that would at least admit to it. So I'm like, I must be a freak. But I knew I was a freak there anyway. Like I kind of picked that up already. Yeah, but that teeth falling out dream, it just, uncertainty about the future.
It's such a
That's
horrible feeling too.
what
when
it's
you dream
supposed
it.
to represent. It it depends on this idea that
Yeah.
that your dreams mean something traditionally. They might, in a certain tradition. Like if you were in a village or whatever, and you're like, well, for the past 1,000 years, this is what our dreams meant. Today, it might mean there's a million traditions that we can pull from today. We're going to talk about some of those in a little bit when you talk about healing yourself through your dreams. Now, I don't know.
Ooh,
I
I
don't know
like
if you can
that.
heal like a broken arm through your dreams. Like that's the thing. Like I don't know if you can heal a broken arm, but it's the idea that there are chemicals firing in our minds while we're sleeping, and a lot of the things that have to do with mental illness are chemicals. Not just, but just traumas in our life and stuff like that are chemicals. And so why not set your dreams up in a way that it might help kind of get those chemicals back at the right amount?
Yeah. Well, another thing is that, there have been studies about meditation and healing where people who have a disease or something, they meditate and they focus on, they do like a visualization of the bad cells being like gobbled up by good cells and things like that. And I think that there have been some positive results on that. So
All right.
I don't have the data to
Sure.
to back that up
course
right
not.
now, but I recall reading something about it, and it just makes sense too that meditation is a healthy practice. So if you do that, if you're sick or something like that, it could just have other effects. But why would a dream not be a similar kind of situation, you know?
Right. And okay, speaking of, I want to get into some lucid dream experiences that I've had, maybe to make up for the fact that my lucid dreams are so weak this week. And then get into some of the scientific studies when they talk about dreams and healing. Also, Vic, what's up, amigos?
Hey, Vic.
Huh? You've been dreaming about warm temperatures in San Antonio, I bet. Even though it hasn't been that bad here. I mean, it hasn't.
They don't have to dream.
Right. Right. They're living the dream.
They just have them.
They're living the warm weather dream. Okay.
Beautiful.
So something happened to me today while I was speaking of meditation.
Ooh.
Wendy. So we've talked about this on the Thursday nights, but I'm in the middle of the Iceman Wim Hof method training. And so the breathing and holding your breath for a certain amount of time. And so in there, one of the things he discusses is you hold your breath, and then afterwards you take one big breath and you kind of put pressure on different parts of your body. And he says that you're shooting cerebrospinal fluid up into your lizard brain.
Oh,
okay.
Gracious.
I don't know if he's really shooting.
That sounds very
I don't know if I'm
intense.
shooting cerebrospinal fluid, but he goes, what happens is then you start seeing lights after a certain time. And I'm like, okay. So yesterday I experienced the lights. I was holding my breath for 2 minutes after doing the breathing techniques. I was holding my breath for 2 minutes. And then I closed my eyes and I was like, you Dutch bastard. It really was like, bing, 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 like a little light. I was like, okay. And that happened. Today, something kind of weird happened. Today I was holding my breath. And it wasn't like quiet in the room or anything. So it wasn't some kind of quiet meditation because my 4-year-old was like watching her tablet and giggling and eating a Morningstar corn dog out, in the living. And so while she was having lunch and watching something educational, people, don't judge me. While she was doing that, I was doing these exercises. And the 4th time through, I had closed my eyes while I was holding my breath. And I looked at the clock. It was like 1.5 minutes. And I'm like, I'm already kind of feeling like I got to breathe. I'm not having a good round. Yeah. And I kind of just kept my eyes closed. And I don't know what happened, but it felt like 2 seconds had passed. And it felt like I was not unconscious, but just I was somewhere else for 2 seconds. Not somewhere, but just
what are you talking
not
about?
Out of my body or anything. It just was like I just almost drifting off to sleep, maybe, kind of thing. Kind of felt
so like
it felt in the way of that I was drifting off to sleep.
Oh, that's an awesome spot to be in.
I opened my eyes again, and it was over 3 minutes.
Okay, that's a little scary.
And I'm like, but I felt euphoric. Like I felt awesome. And then I went to the gym and did a full workout and everything. And so it wasn't painful or harmful or anything because I felt great. But that state of like you don't know what's going on in your mind, that really felt like I closed my eyes, drifted off for a second.
Jeez.
And then when I see the lights, and then when I woke up, I'm like, my breath was still holding, and it was over 3 minutes. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to breathe now. So...
just be careful you don't pass out or something.
Well, if you pass out, then you just start breathing. You're fine. Like then your autonomic nervous system takes over, and you're going to be okay.
Maybe that's what happens.
maybe so. It just was an interesting thing. So that's what I was kind of when we were talking about going deep inside, and it wasn't a negative experience. It was a super positive experience. I wasn't scared. I was I was excited. Like you had a feeling like. It was like adrenaline and endorphins and just popped off. So that idea that when you're sleeping and dreaming, that these adrenaline and endorphins and everything like that can be working inside you for healing as opposed to just kind of a euphoric experience, I totally buy it. And so I kind of wanted to share that because that just happened today. And I was kind of like I had to write about it because I was like, that was weird. Because I'd never had something like that. Plus, I don't know if I've ever held my breath for 3 minutes before in my life.
Yeah, that's a long time.
So I wanted to share that with everybody when we talked about the details of your chemicals and your neurochemistry and the things that happen to you while you're sleeping. Because there is something going on in your dreams, baby. Okay. Lonnie jumps in. There are interesting studies on hypnosis and speeding up healing. I have helped several clients with chronic pain live easier lives.
Oh, that's awesome.
Probably, okay, through hypnosis, not by looking at that scary monster in your profile. That did not anybody
that Krampus?
live an easier life. Scott said he visited about Dreaming Vic in San Antonio this week. There you go.
Excellent.
There you go. So that's a dream come true.
Dream vacation.
Lonnie, show us in the doll where that Dutch bastard touched you.
Oh, my God.
Sometimes when he talks, though, I do think about Goldmember. Like I am thinking about that character that Mike Myers played in Goldmember, the Isht, the way they say is.
That's funny.
Mike appeared as a shadow person in another dimension just then. Right. Like, where did I go?
Yeah.
Where did I go? Where did I go for a minute?
Where were you?
You know, and like, you know, and my heart rate was fine because like the whole time, like my heart rate's on my watch and stuff. So nothing was weird. Like it shows you your heart rate and everything. And I would see later if like my heart rate.
Except for the whole missing time.
The missing time thing. But it was just an unusual experience. So that's what I wanted to, you know, when I can share that with everybody today as we're talking about dreams. And I'm like, you got to go deep inside, man. It just blew my mind. Okay.
Nice work.
Yeah. So you never know what's going to happen. But I've been trying to explore dreams for a while. And I would say, okay, let's jump into I'm looking at my notes from like July of 2007.
All right, let us in.
So what was I doing in July of 2007? Probably up to no good. We probably played some shows, and I probably made an ass out of myself at some point. But that could be any date and time. I started putting down reminders of the reality checks we were talking about, July 11, 2007. One of the things were anytime you try to turn on the television, anytime you turn on the radio, if you turn on the radio and hear a song you completely don't recognize, or it sounds like a mishmash of words or something like that, or you turn on the TV and it's a show you don't recognize or something crazy, like you know you're dreaming. So like a reality check every time you turn on the TV or radio is a good time to check.
Okay.
Because if you turn on the TV and it's Oprah, I guess Oprah does anything there anyway. If you turn on the TV and it's Leave It to Beaver, then you're living in 1958. No, if you turn on the TV and it's a show you recognize, then it's probably reality. If you turn on a TV show and like somebody jumps out of the TV and says, "Hi," it's a dream. If you turn on the radio and your radio is like, "Hey, Mike, what song you want to hear today?" It's a dream. It's definitely not Siri because she's not that reliable. Or things like if I saw a red car, every time I would see a red car, I would do a reality check. Because you see red cars so these are little things like, okay. And then if you see a red car in the dream, I do a reality check. Like, am I...
How? What is that? I don't get it.
So
you see a red car.
Well, it wouldn't be that it changed or anything like that. It's just, they would be triggers that may not be things that you have to remember to do. Triggers are something you're going to see every day, so that every time you see the trigger, you remind yourself anyway. So
I see.
So it's kind of like you have a reminder on your watch, the same thing, or reminder on your phone to check for reality. But it would be ingrained. Like every time I see a red car, I'll be like, "Am I dreaming?"
I see.
And that kind of thing. Red car, see a vegetable. 2007. I don't know how many vegetables I was seeing regularly. Probably not a lot, so it's probably a special situation.
Given you're a vegetarian, that's pretty.
Yeah, but I'm a vegetarian. I existed on like Cheetos and beer. There's plenty of crap food. There's plenty of crap food that's not meat based, and I've eaten it all. And that was college. And every time I handle money was another time to check. So every time you looked at money, Because if I look down, I saw a $100 bill. I'm fucking dreaming.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So those kind of things would be, what you did. And so that's what I was doing in July. And so when I look at the first times I realized I was having a lucid dream, first thing I do is I start flying. So I'm looking at July of 2007, and I'm had a really cool lucid dream. And once I was dreaming, I started flying. I started punching people just because I could. And in one time, and this is all a 6-month period where I was really working on this in the last half of 2007. I was trying to control things with my mind, make them move around. So I was trying to say, if I'm in a dream, that means I'm going to make that book fly over to me.
Oh, cool.
So that's the kind of stuff I was working on. One night when I was doing it, I couldn't make anything fly, but I could totally close all the doors. So whatever room I was in, I could just keep on closing doors.
That's fun.
And doing that, I was, I guess I was surrounded by a bunch of people who were about to have sex. And because I wasn't invited, I ruined it for them. So I knew I was dreaming, but instead of inviting myself to the sex party, I was just
Funny.
what? I'm not invited? Okay, your time's going to suck. And I don't know exactly what I did.
And you knew you were lucid dreaming, so you could have easily just
been
altered the
hey,
plot line there.
Hey, guys, guess who's coming home? Nope.
How's it going?
Right. Instead, it was just you're not going to have any fun. Right. So what I was concentrating on was just I wasn't changing anything in the dream. I was just moving stuff around. So it was that kind of idea that instead of actually changing the storyline, I could just do cooler things in it. So that was discovering a little bit of it. One time I had a dream I was in New York City and I was in the night courtroom.
Awesome.
John Larroquette was there. I even have that in the notes. John Larroquette was there.
That's great.
And then zombies came into the John Larroquette courtroom.
Oh, no.
Right? And I'm oh my God, night court's being attacked by zombies. And at first I freaked out.
That's scary.
And then I realized, wait, night court and zombies. This has got to be a dream. Number one, because night court's
good job.
Night court's not real. Unfortunately, everybody.
Spoiler.
Yeah, I know I ruined it for you. I know everybody was hoping that Bull was just as stupid in real life. And zombies aren't real. At least the George Romero zombies aren't real. And that's what I was dreaming about. And so then I was changing the zombies back into normal people using my lucidity powers once I realized it was a dream. So I was okay, you're not going to... So I was touching them to turn them back normal. And then the dream ended when I had to take a bus somewhere, and my dad was on the bus, and then they played You Don't Have to Call Me Darlin' by David Allan Coe on the bus. And my dad's I like this song. And that's how it ended.
All right.
So that's... So I was just going over some notes that I'd read of lucid dreaming, of a point where I had really worked on it in 2007. And it made me laugh because I had no recollection of those dreams whatsoever. If you'd be remember that time that you were in night court? I'd be I do not. Also, I realized between Golden Girls and Night Court and all these different kinds of Maude and these things, I should just not watch TV anymore.
Definitely invades your subconscious.
Yes.
Huh?
One thing I want to say to Mark Johnson is that last week he was trying to send a TARDIS to me.
Yeah.
And so this week I was trying to lucid dream about Doctor Who. Every day I'm I'm going to dream about Doctor Who. It didn't work once. So I rolled the dice and that baby came up snake eyes.
Aw.
Lonnie, talking about reality checks. Good reality checks that work for me are counting my fingers, looking away and counting again, and looking at clocks twice. Sure.
Okay.
Counting your fingers.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But you have to put your fingers up before you count them? Or you just
Well, you probably just you look at your hand.
right.
Probably, I'm guessing.
And if it says 6, you're in trouble. You're
Six-fingered man.
right. You're in
Given
that
my father.
right. The 6-fingered man, or you're in that Outer Limits episode with the 6th finger. Dana, you sound like a violent Peter Pan. I'd like to say that's the first time I
Trying
heard.
to fly, but you're punching people.
I'd like to say that was the first time I heard that. Well, I didn't want to hurt anybody. I knew I wouldn't. Scott, a Night Court zombie movie mashup. The Honorable Judge Stone would be able to keep the zombies at bay with magic, right? He would like do card tricks for them.
That's right.
Yeah, R.I.P. Harry Anderson. He was always great. Vic, I can sometimes control my dreams. All right, Vic, you're lucid dreaming, baby.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we need you to have a dream that you're flying.
That's,
That you could be the first. You could be the winner.
yeah, you could be the fly winner if
In our
you get to
experiment.
it. If you get to it, that's awesome. And then okay, so Lisa, what if your dreams are helping you work your stuff out? Okay, well that's what I have not done. I'm just flying around denying other people's sex.
What kind of stuff do you have to work out, Mike?
I don't know. Well, okay. So that reminds me.
No, that's a good point, though.
You know, last year we did a lucid dreaming episode with a guy named Ian Jadid, and he is a regular lucid dreamer. And, you know, he talks about this thing called the narrative, and that his idea of the narrative is that your reality and your dreams can be different. Like, I had a dream once that dogs could be lawyers. And so like, it wasn't weird in that dream that like I saw a dog. I'm like, oh yeah, he's going to court. And it wasn't strange at all. So if your reality is the narrative, and he was trying to say that our narrative in life, in regular waking life, is like that too. The beliefs or limitations that we place on ourselves are things that, you know, we believe that aren't necessarily true. And so he's kind of say, but you know, talking about that made me think of a scene in a movie called Mumford, which was, Wendy, you ever seen Mumford?
I'm not sure if I have or not.
It's got Jason Lee.
What's it about?
It's about like a psychiatrist that moves to it lives in a small town, and the characters that live in that small town. And there's this scene where a man is describing one of his erotic fantasies to his therapist. In the fantasy, the male character is a stunning example of romance novel cover machismo who easily woos beautiful women. But in real life, the man's a nebbish, schlubby type guy. And
I remember talking about this on one of our other lucid dreaming episodes.
And you think that the guy has a totally delusional sense of himself until the doctor is talking about it later and says, in these fantasies, this guy is played by a handsome man with biceps. Can you imagine what your self-esteem has to be if you don't even get to appear in your own fantasies? So I thought that was just a real interesting thing when you think about lucid dreams and trying to work out your issues and all those kind of things, is that if you don't even allow who you are as yourself to be the lead character in your own fantasy, then that's something to think about, right? Like if you're not even satisfied enough with yourself, when you can imagine doing anything in the world just the way you are, but then you change yourself. So that always stuck with me, I think, because of that. Okay, now, Dana, remind me not to hang out with Mike. Maybe not in the dream world, Dana. You never know what's going to happen. Pam, after reading Ozma of Oz as a kid, I used to try to dream about exchanging my head like the character did.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, right? Return to, and that's, I mean, I don't know if I've ever read Ozma of Oz, but I did read TikTok of Oz, and that's what most of Return to Oz was based on. And but I think in Ozma of Oz is where they have the witch character who can exchange heads. That's in Return to Oz. We love that. She's the best in that movie. So Sharon, now this is something. What if you slip into lucid dreaming, it becomes a shared dream, and you totally cock-blocked some poor guy, Mike? Should have invited me to your orgy, buddy.
Oh, man.
Right? You invited everybody else, pal.
Oh, goodness.
Right. And so this is the kind of thing. You're in your dreams, and, they've been doing scientific research now on, ways that lucid dreaming can help you and heal you. And so, I was doing stuff without apps or without hardware or anything like that. My sister once bought something called a Nova Dreamer that she wore that you put on after you slept, after you went to bed, and it would it couldn't really detect if you were in REM sleep.
Wait, you put it on before you go to bed.
Right. Not after you fall asleep. If you put it on after you fall asleep, your sleep
It's part
dreaming.
of your dream. Yeah, there you go.
But the whole idea was it's on a timer. So it's this idea of when you probably were in REM sleep, it would flash not bright light at you, but like a gentle red at you. So that if you were in the dream and you kind of saw the red, then you would be able to realize that was your reality check. You saw the red, and so you'd be in the dream.
Yeah.
And so
Did she have success with it?
No. But they have apps now that do the same kind of thing. Audio triggers are a big one, like a gentle kind of bing, 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 or like a series of tones that will help you do the reality check. And there's different ones. There's Lucid Dreamer. It's called the Reality Checker. That's an app you can get. I think it's $1. Oh, actually $7. The Awaken is a lucid dream for Android that's free. And it gives you the reality checks. It's got the sounds. And it will do a thing where it records your speech to text while you're in dream. So if you talk in your sleep, it will record.
Cool.
It will record and transcribe what you say in your sleep. So that's
I've heard of apps that record that they'll just trigger the recorder to go on.
Yeah.
If it hears you talking in the night.
So that's a pretty fun thing. So there is technology that people use for that. Now to get into lucid dreaming, something interesting I've heard is that nicotine patches make people have lucid dreams.
Yes.
And that people will go like there's a whole thread on Reddit, where all these guys trying to quit smoking. They're like, oh my god, like I don't know what's going on, but I'm wearing this nicotine patch and my dreams are crazy.
Yeah, I wonder what it is about that, because I have a friend who was on that Chantix.
Oh yeah.
And he just said he had the craziest dreams ever. Like he was like, in one of the dreams he was like a sausage in a frying pan.
Woo!
Getting tossed around.
Woo! Okay, so Chantix is also the one though that might make you kill somebody.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What?
So that will save that for us an episode about the world's craziest side effects.
Oh no, that's horrible.
Yeah, Chantix is the one that's like, if you have homicidal thoughts, you might think about Quentin. Yeah.
What?
You might think of if you have homicidal thoughts on this drug, you probably should just smoke.
Come on.
Like just you know what? It's safer just to have a bunch of cigarettes than kill people.
Honestly. Seriously.
Okay, so the thing about there's some kind of inhibitor. I don't know how to say it. Acetylcholinesterase, something. There's some kind of chemical inhibitor in these nicotine patches that intensifies REM sleep. So number one, there's the mainlining of nicotine, which is a stimulant, into your system. Mm-hmm. Not through smoking, but through your blood. And second, there's these different kind of chemicals it releases that makes your REM sleep more intense. So if you want to lucid dream or have more vivid dreams, you can take a nicotine patch. There's no tar in it, so who knows what's going to happen to you.
Different technique.
Yeah. But so the big study that was done was in 2011. And that was kind of one of the first studies they did that they found out that lucid dreaming or going into dreams might be able to help people heal themselves and can heal painful memories in people. This is from a University of California, Berkeley study. Says that during REM sleep is when the brain processes emotional experiences and it takes the painful edge off of difficult memories. So REM sleep is a time where
everybody
right, or Michael Stipe sings to you. Here, I'm gonna get a little closer up here. There we go. All right, so I just wanted to. Our heads weren't quite even, so I was like, I gotta get her.
Sorry, I keep moving.
That's all right. That's all right. I just want to make our heads even. I was like, okay. So when you get to REM sleep, and that's the time that it kind of your emotions get processed. And so the way they did that was they showed two groups of people 150 emotional images twice and 12 hours apart, and then an MRI scanner measured their brain activity. Half of the participants viewed the images in the morning and again in the evening, staying awake between the two viewings. So they both showed the images 12 hours apart, but some people did not go to sleep and the other people did.
Okay.
Those who slept in between image viewings reported a significant decrease in their emotional reaction to the images. In addition, the MRI scans showed a dramatic reduction in reactivity in the amygdala, a part of the brain that processes emotions, allowing the brain's rational prefrontal cortex to regain control of the participants' emotional reactions. So they also studied, so while the people were sleeping, they, I don't know, they gave them electroencephalograms. And so that means they just put the little thing on their head, and you'll see it, and there's all this stuff that's reading the brain waves. And they found that during REM sleep, certain electrical activity patterns decreased, showing that reduced levels of stress neurochemicals in the brain soothed emotional reactions to the previous day's experiences. We know, so one of the researchers said, we know that REM sleep, there's a sharp decrease in levels of norepinephrine, a brain chemical associated with stress. By reprocessing previous emotional experiences in this neurochemically safe environment of low norepinephrine during REM sleep, we wake up the next day and those experiences have been softened in their emotional strength. We feel better about them. We feel we can cope. And he said that the reason they started doing this particular study was that there was somebody at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs Hospital in Seattle, and he told them that he was giving people a blood pressure drug. And the people that he gave this blood pressure drug to, all these PTSD patients, were saying that they weren't having their nightmares anymore.
Oh, wow.
And so the side effect of the blood pressure drug was that it was suppressing the norepinephrine in the brain. And it was making him sleep better. So
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, that actually reminds me. I'm going to try to find the link. I read an article this week, and I meant to share it on the See You on the Other Side page, but about a young man who invented an app to help his dad, who had PTSD from being in the military. And he basically, it's an app that it senses, like using your smartwatch. Yeah. It senses your heart rate, so that, because his dad would have these terrors in the middle of the night where his heart would start pumping, he's having a bad dream or whatever. And it would basically do the little buzz to like wake him up. Oh. Yeah, I'll have to share the information about that, because that was really interesting, I thought. But cool use of technology to help, people with such a tragic situation. I have to, be reliving nightmares every day.
Well, it just goes to show how much of your dreams are how much of our thoughts are always chemical at some point, right? We talk about hormones. We talk about, anger and stuff like that. So when you think that the emotional effects get softened after you sleep, and there's a process for softening emotions while you sleep, like that's an amazing adaptation right there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So like Sharon's like, every time I've changed antidepressant meds, I had really vivid dreams for about a week or two. So you're getting different chemicals in your brain, and that's affecting what you're dreaming about. Or, vivid. The idea we remember them. The idea that they stick out more. Lisa, my bad dreams are usually stressful. I'm dreaming about work. Lisa is a first responder. So I can imagine work is stressful enough as first responder. I retire in 3 weeks, and it's kind of freaking me out. Sure.
Oh yeah. That's a good point. You have a major life change coming up.
Right.
It's exciting, but also it's like you've been doing this for so many years that your mind is probably trying to work out, okay, what's it going to be like? It's a big deal.
Vic says that the video by REM for Everybody Hurts was filmed by his house in San Antonio. So
no way.
Sounds good.
All right, bring it back.
Bring it back to REM sleep and the band. But yeah, it's that idea though that so stress. So nightmares, obviously, this is probably why one of the reasons they affect us so much is because we're really feeling the stress and we're not getting that emotional clearing that we're supposed to, right?
Yeah.
So we're not getting that cleaning out where we're supposed to just chill out for a little bit. And so our brains not screwing with us so bad. So that's, so the powers of dreams to do that, it's the importance of sleep, the importance of not having constant nightmares. Like I used to be was Mr. Constant Nightmare. That kind of thing. So, we're talking about lucid dreaming apps. You were talking about the lucid dreaming, like heart rate under watch and stuff like that. My sister had
I'm going to put the link in there.
Yeah, had the Nova Dreamer and things. Okay. Yeah. This is nothing new though. It's we've been dreaming for as long as we've been human. And we've probably been losing our teeth in our dreams for as long as we've been human. And so, the Egyptians had like they were into lucid dreaming and the time, spent that Egyptian eye, the eye of Horus and stuff like that was also the eye that was supposed to be open in your dreams that you could open up if you could do your dreams. We've talked about the Aborigines a lot in our episodes about their dream time and the time they spend. They consider the time they spend in the dream world just as real as the time they spend in the physical material world. And what happens in there is just as important and needs to be discussed. That's very Freudian and Jungian, but, you think about the Aboriginal culture is the oldest culture on the planet, probably, besides the shaman we were talking about in Siberia a couple of years ago. So the Buddhists have a thing called dream yoga. And they've been practicing that for a long time. Kind of brought into Western civilization in the 1930s. When that's kind of when we started learning a lot of the different Buddhist stuff. Like that's when Alexandra David Neal came back from her time in Tibet. She taught us about the tulpa. Talked about the I was mentioning the Iceman before, whatever. But she talked about the monks that could sit in the, I think it's called Tumu meditation or Tomu meditation. They could sit in the snow in the Himalayas and melt the snow with their body heat.
So cool.
Right? So it's that idea that, and so these ideas, and like dream yoga, otherwise, also called like tantric dream yoga or tantric dreaming, that just makes it everything because of Sting or whatever and his tantric sex makes it sound dirty. But so there is, this place between life and death, between waking and dreaming in, Buddhism called the bardo. And there's different bardos of liminal states. So we talk about the veil, right? Between this world and that world. Well, that's not some kind of new concept. The Buddhists have been harping on it for plenty of time. And you have these liminal states of dreaming and sleeping. And they say that, that was this idea that you could develop your own spiritual practice in your dreams if you could discover that you're dreaming. And there's a couple of different kinds of this. And so this isn't some kind of, like, we talk about lucid dreaming now. It's kind of new agey. You don't find lucid dreaming books. You find it in like the new age spiritual self-help section, like the places we all hang out.
Right.
But, you don't have regular people talking about that unless they're like psychotherapists and the importance of dreams. But this, ends up being part of the religion. And number one, so they had like 6 different steps and let me find those steps here, of, what you do when, you get in these stages. The first stage of dream yoga is you become lucid. That's when you recognize that you're dreaming. So the first stage is what the reality checks that Lonnie was talking about, that you were talking about. It's those reality checks. It's looking for the red cars and the clocks and the fingers and B. Arthur. And nice. The first step is to realize you're lucid. The second step is to realize that nothing in your dream can hurt you. And I got to say, that's something that people in our generation, Nightmare on Elm Street and Dreamscape, really ruined.
Oh my gosh.
Really ruined it for everybody. And even in Inception has this, has an idea that you can be in danger in your dreams. But this idea that if you die in your dreams, you'll die in real life is silly. Like, I've died in my dreams several times.
And I remember as a kid, you're sitting around talking with your friends and they're like, oh, if you ever have a dream that you're just falling and like you fell down a bottomless pit or something. If you hit the bottom, that means you died.
That's a good one. I don't know if I heard that.
I remember that being like the urban legend.
Yeah. I mean, Wes Craven got the idea for the Nightmare on Elm Street from the sudden, unexpected nocturnal death syndrome that was affecting Southeast Asian immigrants among immigrants in the early 1970s in California. Specifically, there was just a lot of people in that group who were dying, healthy young men who were dying in the middle of the night. That was his idea, that you could die inside your dreams. That might be related. There's a whole bunch of things that might be related to that don't have to, you're dying in your dreams, you die in real life. But that's the idea behind Freddy Krueger, obviously that's what influenced, most of us, that in Dreamscape, when they're like, oh, if you die in your dream, you'll really die. It screws you up. So, but the idea is, once you're in the bardo, once you're there, you realize you're lucid, then the next thing you know is you can't be hurt. So that's when you're fighting the nightmares. And so, like, I got to that stage when I was a kid of lucid dreaming to be like, okay, they can't hurt me. And so sometimes I just wake myself up. Other times I would do something where I realized they can't hurt me, and then I would just move to a different dream. Like, it's like beating the dream. It's like beating a video. Wendy, have you ever finished a dream? Like,
how do you know when it's done?
Well, the narrative reaches the end and you wake up.
Usually my dreams aren't logical enough to have a narrative that's followable.
I get it.
So I would have to guess no, but I'm not sure.
So when I was talking about that euphoric experience today, I would say that there's been a few times in my life where I made it to the end of the narrative of the dream. And maybe this was becoming lucid. But I was like, we did it. And then I woke up feeling like $1 million.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
It was like like finishing the story line. I mean,
Something happened in your mind.
right. And that kind of like and I don't know if the story was actually finished. It felt like it was, but you know how you do things where your mind automatically creates the whole narrative in the past. Like
sure.
So I don't know what actually happened, but I had several times in my life where I felt like the dream was completed. And, I woke up like wanted to slap five with everybody. Like, all right, who's dreaming, baby? I'm dreaming.
There you go.
Okay. Second thing is like, okay, don't be afraid. You're going to be all right. And one example they give is that you try to put out a fire with your hands and you realize the fire can't hurt you. Like you're not actually being hurt. Even though like when I'm looking at my dream journals, I see that the sensations I'm feeling are all very real, whether it's eating, whether it's moving, whether it's pain. So you pretty much have to realize that dreams can't hurt you before you put the fire out, or at least you'll be.
Yeah, right.
So then you have this stage of contemplating how things in the dream are similar to things in life because everything is in a constant state of change. So nothing's ever the same. Even in life, we're all redefining ourselves all the time. Life's changing constantly. Right. Everything. So
that's a fact.
To understand that waking life can be just as illusory as dreaming life because things are in a constant state of change anyway. So that's the whole point of Buddhism, right? Is the lack of attachments, nirvana. But realize that your attachment, I sound like freaking Yoda here. But you realize that
realize you will.
Realize you will. Your attachments are false. But that, the more you are attached to things, they're going to change. And so that's equating the experience that's kind of the dream time thing, is that saying what's happening here is just like what's happening in the real world. So I should understand that. Then you realize that you can control your dreams. So that's the next thing. It can't hurt you. It's not that different than real life. Or it's, there's waking life, I should say, instead of real life. And then you have control of it. You can change the objects. You can combine objects. You can move things around like I would. Well, I was just closing doors and cock blocking dudes. But the Tibetans probably had something a little more deep and mystical.
Nice.
In the fifth stage, the dreamer realizes that their dream body is just as insubstantial as the other objects in the dream. They are not their dream body. So you could if you're looking at your hand, you could add a couple fingers. Maybe so you could be Wendy, you could play faster on the violin maybe if you had 7 fingers. Who knows? I don't know how it works.
You play more notes.
Right? Right. But if you just got like 3 extra pinkies, you'd be like, thanks for nothing. Okay. And it's that idea though that the dream body is not you. And that's an interest. I'd never thought about that. That who you are, like it's just when when people say like, okay, you are not your like physical body. When you try to disassociate yourself a little bit between the physical and the spiritual, it's the same thing in the dream state as with the dream yoga. And then the final stage is you're just trying to, instead of thinking about sex or punching people or whatever you're going to think about in your dreams, you want to think about the religious figures, the void. You kind of want to float out into the ether and dissolve your illusory body and become one with the force, basically.
There it is.
Basically. So that's kind of what happens in dream yoga. And so I'd love to talk to people more about dream yoga sometime, people who practice it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think we should do another week of trying to fly, everybody.
Yeah, and I'd like to just give kudos to the people that have been doing the dream
Yeah,
journaling
awesome.
and playing along with us at home, because I'm hopeful that somebody's going to have something interesting happen.
Yeah.
Or, have some kind of a breakthrough that we can discuss.
Well, once we
help
have
each other out, maybe.
Once we have a little bit of lucidity, then we're going to try to meet up.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
But we got to get there. We got to get there with the lucidity.
But we do. And we have to be just, patient and disciplined with this.
Yes. And so I'm trying every night.
So I'll keep trying too.
Right on. So just as the final comments of the night, Scott, it's easy to connect the finishing the dream. Connecting Lisa's idea of a dream is helping you deal with something. Finishing the dream helped you get whatever closure the dream was wanting you to have. Right. It's like coming to the end of a video game. It's like, woo, I beat Ninja Gaiden. And you feel good.
Okay, I solved it. Right.
You solved whatever problem I had, which, most of those happened when I was like between 9 and 13. So my problems were probably, I don't know, zits and having to go to bed early. Who knows? I guess that's 44. That's problems not too far off.
Not bad.
And Lonnie, the riddle of paying attention to your thoughts and asking yourself, what is paying attention? Right. The you are not your thoughts thing.
Yeah.
Because we all have First of all, Lonnie, I keep on looking at your profiles, scaring me. It just makes me laugh. But that idea that what you think doesn't have to define you, I think is a powerful one because, right, you can't control those things. Especially anybody who's had any experience with obsessive compulsive disorder knows how little control that you do have over your thoughts. So saying that you are your thoughts is also saying like where do thoughts come from, like where are they springing from, and then
right.
So if they just come from nowhere, what does that mean? So that's a really great point, Lonnie. I appreciate that. That's good thinking.
Yeah.
All right. So before we head off, Heather, I'm joining late, but I had the same dream for a year till I left my ex-fiance. Well, that was your body telling you, or that was your subconscious telling you something, right?
A year. Wow.
Alistair's got a story for us that he's going to send to us later. I got a crazy story he's going to share. Sounds good. I can't wait. And hopefully, if it's a good one, we'll can't wait to share with the group too.
Yeah. Curious.
All right. Anybody, please check out patreon.com/sunspotmusic if you're interested in any of the paranormal stuff we do, or music. We'll be having some more music and fun on Thursday night for Thirsty Thursday this week.
Yeah.
So get your eggnog.
We'll have Ben back in here with us again.
And Ben will come join us. And then we're going to be doing more dreaming. And so since we're not getting out to a lot of haunted locations or anything like that, we're exploring inner space for a little while with you guys. And so let's all explore inner space together. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. You guys are awesome. And we'll see you on Thirsty Thursday. That's going to be coming up just in 2 days, 7:30 p.m. Some music, fun, jokes, drinks, and things like that.
Good times.
So everybody have a great night, and we will see you in just a couple of days.
Thanks, everybody.